but it is not easy. And especially this thing with Jerry Seinfeld has really gotten in my craw. So we need to talk about Jerry. You know what's going on about Jerry, right, Harvey?
Well, yeah, but you already know that I hated the Seinfeld show.
I know.
I didn't know.
Listen, Mr. David, okay?
Yeah, he looks like Larry David.
I think you got a little too successful with that show.
But no, the problem is, and apparently, and I knew he was a Zionist. I mean, it's none of it is shocking, but the whole concept of him and taking his wife and kids over there for like IDF fantasy camp and doing like these ridiculous things, like, yeah, it's just so unbelievably just out of touch and oblivious. I just don't even know, like, it's embarrassing for him.
I don't think it's embarrassing for him.
I think he should be embarrassed. Well, he looks ridiculous.
But he doesn't care. Like, if there's one thing about Jerry is that he really does not care.
Whatever. I find him gross.
When you're a billionaire, and that's also the big issue here. That
was the tell right there.
Well, yeah, and this is something that you can probably speak to pretty well, Leila, because when you're in the Los Angeles suburbs or you're in the Miami suburbs, there is a distinct difference that I've noticed. It's sort of like a neutral arbiter. It's like if I'm observing the way that the Jewish community has handled this particular issue, this very much falls on class lines. The ones who are in the affluent class are totally fine with what's happening in Gaza, and basically everybody else is like, this is abhorrent. How the hell could this be going on? And that kind of speaks to a lot of the economic issues that we're dealing with today. It's amazing how much crossover there is. It's like the people who say, oh, you don't need a union, oh, you don't need this, are always people who are speaking about it from a very comfortable economic perspective.
Vantage point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been really interesting to see the crossover. And actually, we're big COVID cautious people over here, and Pat and I talk about it a lot on our show, but I've been really, which is again, a working class issue, health issue, but it's been completely dropped by most people on the left even. And to see like Jewish Voices for Peace shutting down subway stations and a huge percentage of them masked, right? So like, I love to see that crossover and intersectionality, because the people who care about human rights and human dignity tend to do that across the board. There is a consistency. And yes, I mean, I know they say he became a billionaire just by selling his show, but we all know it's not the only way you become a billionaire. And I'm sure there were practices in there and deals that were made that sold out quite a few people along the way. So it's been a while since I've been a fan of his.
Yeah,
but he really outdid himself this time. He's the
least funny person on that show. I've always thought that of all of them, he's the least funny. You want to say something, Harvey? Tell me your thoughts on Jerry.
No, I wanted to cite only because COVID came into the subject that my mind flipped over to. I had COVID not too long ago.
Right.
My wife and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary this year.
Oh, Mazel.
Thank you. And it was back in May. And by the way, May 5th, the same day as Karl Marx's birthday, but that's another thing.
Ooh, I dodged a bullet
by one day.
So, what's your birthday?
May 6th. I got
just so you know, that's my sister's birthday, just for the record.
Oh, May 6th is your sister's birthday?
Yes, it is. Right.
Wow. Okay.
So we decided we'd go to Spain and Portugal. My wife had lived in Spain and Portugal during university years and all that. And my wife is originally British. I think some of you might know that. And so we went over, and because I had been to Spain once, but never to Madrid. So we're going to go to Madrid and Lisbon. This is a trivial set of items I'm going to refer to as my grievances.
Okay.
So we got over there. I mask on a plane, and I did my best.
That's actually the best place to do it.
Yeah, you're flying in a petri dish, so that makes sense.
And I actually, we went through 3 years. We didn't get COVID, right?
Right.
So I was there about 24 hours, 36 hours, and I said to my wife, whose name is Lorna, I said, my nose is running. I mean, it wasn't just that I had a stuffed nose; it was running. Yeah. Shit. So we tested. I guess we had a couple of tests with us, so we went around the corner to the pharmacia, and it was a faint line, which meant it was developing. Fortunately, it remained a runny nose and a cough, and even though it was chilly in Iberia the time we were there, while we were there, it wasn't cold, so we could eat outdoors all the time.
Right.
And then at the end of the week, as we're leaving to go to Lisbon, my wife came down with it as well. Okay. But you know what? That's not my biggest grievance because I can't hold anyone responsible for that, really. Here's my biggest grievance. Have you guys ever had grilled sardines?
No.
No, but I know how big it is in Portugal.
Well, so I'd never been to Portugal, but I've had grilled sardines. Well,
Love.
what happened was I used to, whenever we would go east to New Jersey, when my mom was still alive, and we don't go to New Jersey, we go to New York, where my younger daughter is now, and we would stop in Newark. We'd come out of Newark Airport, we'd go to Newark because there's a Portuguese community in Newark, New Jersey, and there's a great Portuguese restaurant, seafood restaurant.
Don't say it because I know what it is.
Seabras, right?
It's Don Pepe's.
No, it's Seabras.
Seabras?
Yes, Seabras.
Well,
I have heard of the one you're referring to.
Do they have the egg custard pastry?
They have whatever you want. You mean not the yes. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, fabulous.
Oh.
And there's a great place in New York City that makes them just fantastic. Anyhow, so listen. So this grilled sardines is like head to toe, head to tail. And it's just, and you can eat the whole thing if you're inclined to do so. And when it's done right, I was always inclined to do so. So I had wanted to go to Portugal to have sardines because I wanted it to be recently in the sea.
Yes.
And they're actually about this large when you eat them, the grilled ones. So I get there and we're at the desk in the hotel. First we found out that our reservation was never registered, but fortunately they had a room for us. And I think they actually upped us because they were embarrassed. And I said to the woman, I've been so looking forward to come to Portugal and blah, blah, blah. And I said, because I really want to eat grilled sardines. And she said, and her face just changed. And she said, oh no, that's in the springtime. We don't eat grilled sardines other than the springtime. So believe me, if you had said to me up until that moment, what's the dish you most, that was it. I didn't want to go to Spain. Well, I didn't get to Valencia for paella, but man, grilled sardines. So those are my two trivial grievances. I got COVID and didn't have it too badly.
And you didn't get the sardines.
I didn't get the grilled sardines, but the trip itself was great. And in fact, the funny part was while I had COVID, because I didn't want to go down to the little restaurant in the hotel, we were eating those egg custard things that you like. That was my breakfast. 2 every morning was my breakfast.
Have you had them, Leila? Have you had those?
The grilled sardines or the little custards?
The custard pastries.
No, neither.
Oh
Is that in Spain or in Portugal?
Well, they're in Portugal, but there's a company that produces them, and there's a chain of stores in Iberia called El Corte Inglés. It's a phenomenal set of department stores. And their food, what do you call it? A food hall, so to speak. They had a counter with the Portuguese. So every night we would buy for breakfast the next day.
And every town has sort of a different version of it. And that was something that was really cool. So like when you go to Sintra, it's different than when you're in Lisbon or when you're in Porto or whatever. Like it's really cool. And I tried them everywhere. So
that's great. Fantastic.
I was on a pastry tour of Lisbon and the cod. That was the other thing. The fish was amazing there.
Yeah, if you say cod to a lot of people, they think, oh, what? It's a
but it's
fish.
bacalao.
Right, bacalao, right.
But it was so good.
Oh, how fun. I'm sorry you had COVID. I love every food. I'll eat anything.
Well, as a residential millennial and also speaking on behalf of Gen Z, it's great to hear these wonderful stories.
You don't get to speak on behalf of Gen Z.
I'm going to speak on behalf of them
You're
to let them know
old.
that these wonderful things that you're talking about, like going to Lisbon and Portugal, you're never going there because you're never going to afford to be able to go there. And
you'll get nothing and
you'll like it. Yeah.
You'll own nothing and like it.
Okay, so let me confess. I will confess.
Yes.
So another reason I have no reason to have grievances is so I was at the University of Wisconsin in the University of Wisconsin system for 43 years. So my pension was pretty good. I actually make more on my pension, I think, than I made in my salary.
Wow.
And if you add Social Security to it, relatively speaking, I could not live in California on it, believe me.
Nobody can, yeah.
But here in Wisconsin, it's like I don't want to say I feel rich, but I mean, I'm not about to join IPAC or anything like that. But the main thing is that, I can buy books without thinking twice now, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I
that's
think that,
wonderful.
and one of the big issues, I mean, we were just talking about this with some friends recently, is, when you're talking about how do you really change the economic landscape of this country, we have to have greater emphasis on trade schools and the ability to learn a trade. You should be able to go to college tuition free at the state level. There's a lot of great colleges at the state level in Wisconsin, in Florida, and California, among other places in the country. But if people want to learn how to do something, welding, plumbing, electrician, being a nurse, being a teacher, as far as I'm concerned, all of these things should be part of, let's say, a 21st century economic bill of rights.
Because I'm all about the federal job guarantee.
Yeah.
I support federal jobs guarantee.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I will tell you, if again, this is in favor of Wisconsin, there is an outstanding technical college system
That's great.
that parallels the university system. And
That's nice.
Yeah. So here in the Green Bay, small city, we have the university on one side of town and the technical college on the other side of town.
Right.
And their facilities are really remarkable, and you can study and get associate degrees in vast numbers of subjects.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.